All right, I have my XSplit recording. I'm going to maximize the no. Maximize, please. Please don't become a new intro. Don't do it.
Fourth and wrong. God damn, you people are impressive and I love you for it.
Should I say the line?
No.
It's gonna be hard to start it if I don't say the line.
First try. Get it. Remember, it's July.
No, it's not.
It's June.
There we go.
It's the 24th. 2022.
Yeah. Got a lot of twos in there. It's gonna be difficult.
Action.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, June the 24th, 2022, and this is the Fourth and Wrong podcast?
First try. Legitimately the first time you've ever gotten it first try.
I'm your host, RJ, and joining me as always is Keith. Say hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith. Feels good. Back in the saddle.
Yeah. No, but I actually did do it that time.
Mm-hmm.
No,
the last time you got it first try, and it's
been a hot minute.
It was one of the cold opens for one of the episodes a few years ago where you got it first try, and then as you were trailing off, you were just like, and then I'm gonna do it again, and then I just kept interrupting you.
Yeah, no, that was good, solid content.
All you had to do was take the first fucking cut, dude.
Listen, it made a good entry into the medley of intros. So
it did. It did. Man, we're gonna talk some sports.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like we didn't cover any of the 2021 season, did we?
Nope.
We skipped it entirely. Yeah, we
literally went from Tre'Davious White is trash to Josh Allen is okay to now.
Yeah, we have a pattern. It's like every year we don't have a podcast. Or every other year we don't have a podcast. So
yeah.
we skipped the 2019 season and the 2020-21 season.
Pretty much.
Go us, man.
Listen,
consistency is key when it comes to internet content. You know that.
I was going to say, we are consistent. It's just not in a way that, generates any sort of momentum whatsoever.
No, not even a little bit. We could have had careers in broadcasting by now if we actually stuck this through.
Yeah. We're your favorite commentators that you never hear from.
Absolutely not. We don't believe in it. We like to keep the people guessing, because I would assume that our listener audience just assumed the show was dead after last year.
I would have.
And then our listener audience just assumed the show was dead after 2018.
It's like saying I'm your favorite rapper's rapper, except instead of like being another vocal performing artist, your favorite rapper's rapper was what was left after they consumed a whatchamacallit. We're like that.
Yeah. But even less consistent.
Right.
I feel like we've made a whatchamacallit joke too. I'm gonna have deja vu like this entire.
I feel like I would have remembered a whatchamacallit joke and I wouldn't have tried to do it again. Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, but
no, I understand. So a brief recap of the season we missed. The Bills just ramble it off full speed.
Yeah.
The Bills are great. And the Browns come to find out.
The only thing that can stop Josh Allen is a coin flip, turns out.
Yeah. fucking Juju Smith-Schuster was right, son of a bitch. At least for that 1 year.
Nameless gray faces. You know what the funny thing is Tomlinson said the same thing about Pat McAfee after telling him for years that he was like, I'm gonna resign you when you're old and cheaper. He was like, yeah, but when we play you, you're just the same nameless gray faces. So I mean, I don't know if that matriculated down from Tomlinson or what.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you never have a losing season in your career, like,
well, and I think it's important to kind of perpetuate that culture where every team is the team, every week is week one,
right?
Every, that kind of thing where you're always 0-0. Yeah. But taking it to the media when directly referencing the team you're about to oppose in the playoffs,
when you start saying it about another team, it's one thing. I mean, because the Bills have also started a culture of we're just trying to go 1-0 this week, and that's all they focus on. But yes, that's another thing we missed in our time off was the Browns beating the fucking Steelers in Pittsburgh in a playoff game.
We talked about that.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure
I remember that. No, I remember that episode distinctly because I was really upset with my performance in that episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because thanks for bringing it up. Because I basically unintentionally went into almost a play-by-play recap of the first quarter of that game, and then I stopped listening to me halfway through. I was like, man,
this ain't worth my time.
I watched it. I don't need to watch this.
I mean,
Hey Keith, less commentary, more play-by-play. You're not a fucking broadcaster.
To be fair, the number of times I've watched Bills versus Patriots wildcard reactions just from everybody is not a small number.
Oh, totally. I've probably watched Urinating Trees live stream highlights of that Browns Pittsburgh game more than a dozen times.
And that's just him at that point.
And that's just him. And I wanted to see a Yinzer meltdown, and boy, did whew.
Ooh, we'll see if I can still find that audio clip. It's somewhere on my hard drive, but fourth and wrong, you rock, like something like he said something like that because I donated like $5. So.
Hey, we got it. Urinating Tree is officially an endorser of the Fourth and Wrong podcast. He just doesn't know it yet.
We'll see if I can find that clip.
Fourth and wrong. God damn, you people are impressive, and I love you for it.
Yeah, it was just.
I don't know who they are, old. But my beard was not.
You got gray in the beard, dog.
Yeah, it's not even gray. Like it's
white.
It's either one of two colors. It's just backlit well.
I got you. Yeah, I still got the strawberry blonde here, dark brown here thing going on. It's the Irish and the Mexican. They've mixed very well. As you can tell, they like one settles while the other they have different densities. You know, so when you put them in a cup, it's like oil and water.
Yeah,
that gets really drunk.
It's true. All right, so I mean, fuck. What do we actually talk about these days?
What do you mean? Like, what have we talked about previous? This is going well.
No, I mean, like, do we want to pick a topic? Because I can think of like many different things that are going on in the NFL at this point. Like, how current do we get? Are there other past things that we have missed that we need to address? Like, Josh Allen has made himself a fucking factor. Baker Mayfield is a total question mark as opposed to if he's even going to be in Cleveland. Cleveland has distinctly bought a new bed and laid in it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of start with a brief recap of what we missed over last season and the offseason. So just very succinctly, what happened to the Browns? Baker Mayfield got hurt, and then they kept playing him, causing him to never have much improvement in the healing of his injury.
Has that really come out? Is it that the Browns played him or that he kept pressing for playing time?
It's probably a mix of both, honestly. I'm sure at some point the higher ups towards the end of the season were like, "Bro, dude, like we need to like consider sitting this dude."
Yeah, because I mean, because I totally believe that his like fighter mentality is like I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna do that shit, like no matter what.
Yeah, that just seems like Baker's MO, where no, you guys don't understand. I'm the walk-on king. I don't need no labrum. Just take the whole thing out. I don't even need this arm. Come to find out, he did. We went 8-9 off the back of our running game, which is the story of my life. So at the end of that season, he finally went in for surgery to repair that labrum, which he arguably needed in the middle of the season. And we had Case Keenum as a backup. Some would make the argument, people that are wrong would make the argument that Case Keenum is a direct replacement for Baker Mayfield in that offense. I think we're underselling Baker Mayfield's value there a little bit, but also at the same time, we have never gotten a healthy Baker in a stable system. So my thought was, hey man, at the end of the season, let's just ignore it. We'll forget it ever happened. Get your labrum repaired. You're coming back into this fancy offense that you've had success in, that the team has had success in. It was a down year because of injuries and other extenuating factors. We're going to come back full strength. Cool. No big deal. And then Cleveland decided that they wanted an adult at quarterback. And this is something that was said directly by members of the organization. They want an adult at quarterback. They do not consider Baker Mayfield the correct fit. So they went shopping. And the biggest dude on the market was Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. I will fully admit Deshaun Watson is a direct upgrade to Baker Mayfield. Do I think it was the right move? Absolutely not. And briefly to summate why is what we just mentioned. Baker Mayfield's never been fully healthy in an offense for which he has had the same offense coordinator and head coach for longer than 20 seconds.
I was going to say, like, he's never had the same top-level support.
Right. And we're coming off of a down year, but there's still upside to the team. And I am a big fan of Baker, and I wanted to see his development in that offense. And instead, they wanted an adult. They went and shopped for Deshaun Watson to the point where they went to Houston. Both Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, the head coach and the GM, went to Houston. And how Baker Mayfield learned. Baker Mayfield was aware that they were going to examine all options in the offseason. He was told that. What he wasn't told is that they were going to go visit Deshaun Watson directly for a sit-down meeting. He found out via social media and the media and the news. So he felt slighted. Duh.
Yeah.
And after they burned that bridge, Deshaun Watson turned him down. They're like, nah, I don't want to play in the cold. Cool. Well, then Cleveland was like, well, would you play in the cold for $230 million guaranteed? And that's when Deshaun Watson went, you know what? You know what? Cleveland's not that bad.
I mean, there's
to have the richest guaranteed contract in NFL history and be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Yeah, why not?
I mean, easily the most guaranteed. Buy $100 million basically guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first 100% guaranteed contract. That's the part that people money.
Is it the first 100% guaranteed, or is it the first for a quarterback like at that level?
Either or, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a ridiculous amount of money regardless.
Regardless, it is the biggest fully guaranteed contract. Period.
Yep. But people seem to remember very quickly as this was occurring that Deshaun Watson has a lot of off the field issues that he was dealing with at the time. His lawsuit number for his inappropriate behavior with massage therapists had jumped into the double digits. By the time he got to Cleveland, that number was up to 24. And didn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. And a couple of lawsuits in the civil side, I can give everybody the benefit of the doubt. There could be truth on either side. But 24 allegations of similar nature, that's when I start to go,
well, now
there might...
And now it's 26 allegations with 24 fully filed suits.
And 20...
But,
right,
and
20
settlements, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
but it could go up to 66. Hey, let's like fucking shoot for the moon. Like, you know,
if
and
you're going to do it full send.
And, you know, you'll land amongst the stars or however that shit goes.
Yeah, so not only did we basically ostracize our huge question mark at quarterback for another huge question mark at quarterback, at least for the first season, potentially more, depending on what the NFL decides to do with them, which we haven't gotten any news on yet. Because we picked up Baker Mayfield's fifth-year option, it's $18 million guaranteed, and we're like, oh, we'll just trade Baker off. Nobody wants to pay $18 million for a dude that had a down year coming off of a labrum surgery.
Well, and it's
I don't understand why they don't want to pay it, but
well, and it's also like where like the two major suitors at this point are like, okay, so what do? You send him to Seattle, who just did like a QB swap. I mean, technically they did. But you know, they got Drew Lock and Geno Smith. So I could see him going there. It's like, or they go to Carolina, who has stated previously that they're out and also has the third overall pick from that draft already still on their team.
Yep. Well, and Carolina saying they're out is like, we're out-ish. You know, the conversation is continuing.
I'm out. Chase me.
Yeah, exactly. Carolina was about to pull the trigger if Cleveland paid $14 million of the guaranteed money.
Right.
Yeah. At which Cleveland said no. They're like, no. We the reason why we're trying to trade him is the cap hit. Go fuck yourself. I think Cleveland needs to bite that bullet. They need to do Baker right by letting him go to another team unobstructed. And I think. You know why I want it to be Carolina?
Go on.
Because Carolina and Cleveland play week 1 in Carolina.
Oh, Jesus.
And as much as I would like Cleveland to start off strong, I still want them to win that game.
You would also like him.
I
with
hope
Carolina
Baker balls
to dunk
the
on
fuck
him.
out, just completely shits on them. We win, obviously. But I want it to be like by a point, and Baker threw for like 4 touchdowns.
So to speak on things that we missed, you want it to be the KC Buffalo game, but
yeah.
I don't think you'll get that, but
no. But I am going to go to that game regardless of what happens to the Carolina-Cleveland situation, because Cleveland only comes to North Carolina.
The United States.
Yeah, in the United States. They only come to North Carolina once every, 8 or 10 years, the way the flippy floppies happen.
It's AFC versus NFC and, rotational, divisional.
Right, and then, and then whether or not it's home or away for the team is another 2-year, 2 to 4 year.
Which could also totally be up to the schedulers, because we keep playing Kansas City in fucking Kansas City every goddamn time. So,
Well, quit being so good. They won't put you up against the other gooders.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how it is when you win your division.
Yeah, unfortunately. So Deshaun Watson starts to get settled in Cleveland. The reviews from Cleveland fans are very mixed. I would say the room is split.
I was gonna say, I've heard some people are like buying him food and stuff, and like.
Mm-hmm. I think my big problem with the whole thing is with Baker Mayfield's contract situation being the way it is, and how the team treated him in those few months, and the potential that Deshaun Watson. We even structured his contract with the intention of him possibly being suspended for the entire season. Yeah. We paid his this year's salary. We paid him up front as a bonus, and he's only on the roster for $1 million as far as the cap hit is concerned. So if he does get suspended and the NFL cuts into his check, which they will, the penalty is substantially lower. He got all his money up front, and there's basically no fiscal recourse for him to sit out a year. So there's a situation where we might need Baker to play. And he doesn't wanna.
Well, what you've also got? I mean, you got Jacoby Brissett. I mean,
right, which is where I'm kind of okay with that situation. I'm not okay with Deshaun Watson. We paying him a king's ransom for him to sit for a season. That fucking rubs me the wrong way. But we structured the contract smart. We have Jacoby Brissett. That's why I'm saying just fucking front the money. Mm-hmm. Get Baker out of Cleveland so he can go play some fucking football. Yeah. Because if you keep him on the roster, he's gonna sit out.
I think the general off podcast conversation that we've been having is you're not super duper happy with Cleveland because Deshaun's situation is far less than ideal, which is to say that both of us can look at it and objectively say that if all of these allegations are true, which now 20 of them have been settled, so I guess we'll never know one way or the other on that. But the original accuser and 4 others are still pushing forward with their cases, and even then, that's twice as many as Sloppy Burger ever had.
I think the general consensus with Cleveland was because Deshaun Watson was adamant about going to court and clearing his name.
Right.
And Cleveland basically was just like, no, the fuck you're not.
Yeah.
You don't have a name. This is the NFL. Cleveland has your name. Settle these cases. Finish your whatever the fuck the NFL is going to do for you as far as suspensions or whatever, and then you're going to play some fucking football. Enough with this horse shit.
Because that was the whole thing, even from 23 to 24, where it was like, oh, 23, like we're okay with 23. We know about 23. Oh, 24 came out. Well, that's a problem.
This is not what we signed up for.
And then it became like maybe 66.
Right. And Cleveland has a history of taking a shot on troubled players. Like, fuck, we kept Josh Gordon on our roster for forever. And having Kareem Hunt in.
Josh Gordon was just smoking weed. I mean,
sure, troubled by the NFL standards.
Yeah. Well, he was also getting drunk every game to see how well he could perform, but
turns out pretty good. And even with Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt's misstep was just that. It was a misstep. He made a really dumb decision and did a really dumb thing.
Yeah.
But in what little defense you can mount for him, because obviously, assaulting and battering anybody is bad, it was obviously a situation where he was antagonized. Like, there's film.
Right.
It doesn't excuse the behavior, but there is give and take there. He wants to show the league, and he wanted to show everybody that he's not that person, and he just wants to play football and do right by his community. And then Cleveland rewarded him with an extension because he balled out. He kept his nose clean.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson's situation isn't that. It makes me sticky just thinking about it.
Who do you think should serve more time, Deshaun Watson or Calvin Ridley?
What'd Calvin Ridley do?
He gambled $1,500 on a couple of games. He's being fully suspended for an entire year already.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Now that's not to say I agree with gambling when you're involved in the sport.
No,
it does
totally.
It does affect the integrity of the sport when you're gambling. Because that gambling influences decisions on the field.
Sure, but I also think it's different for a single wide receiver than what Pete Rose, a former manager in baseball, was doing.
Or the referees in the NBA back during that scandal. You're actually fixing games because you're gambling on them because you're a goddamn ref.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson's punishment should have been handed down forever ago.
Right.
If the NFL has done their due diligence, which they should have been since day one, we're going on 2 years since he's been on the field in live play. This will be season 3 if he's suspended of not playing football. These allegations.
The last time Deshaun Watson played on the field, we had a goddamn regular podcast.
Yeah. And the Bills had a goddamn regular playoff loss that year, too.
Well, shut up. That was a couple of years before that, but...
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the Tyrod Taylor playoff run.
No, it was Josh Allen. It was...
his rookie year?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Or no, his
Sophomore
his second year.
Yeah.
Our first off year.
Josh Allen has been the quarterback of that team going on 5 years now.
He's going into year 5.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get real expensive next year.
Right. And there's even a vocal minority on the internet. They're just like, Deshaun Watson's already served his time. No, he hasn't. He chose to sit out. He was never suspended.
I've heard that. And I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking argument I've ever heard.
He chose to sit out because he didn't want to play in Houston anymore because Bill O'Brien refused to put a team around him, which makes sense.
Sure.
Until all these allegations come out, and then not only is Houston they're not going to play you now. You already sat out 1 year, and now you got all this shit going on. The other thing that irritates me about the Browns thing is
they also furnished him with an NDA, but
right. We also gave Houston basically everything they wanted. We mortgaged our future for the next 3 years plus $230 million. We don't have a first round draft pick until the 2026 draft, either 25 or 26.
As things stand, I mean, we'll see.
As things stand, yeah.
We'll see.
We gave up like 19 million picks and $1 bajillion for this dude who probably won't even play this year.
But do you think if you fully ate Baker's contract, do you think you could get a first round draft pick for him?
Absolutely not.
I don't think teams even in the future.
No. I don't think teams are willing to take a shot on that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I love Baker. I'm going to follow his career wherever he goes because regardless, if he turns out to be a Ryan Fitzpatrick-esque player where he just becomes a pro journeyman and just has moderate success everywhere he goes on the behest of the injuries of others, that's cool too.
I'll be honest, you've made me love Baker. Again, going all the way back to our coverage back in the day, you really wanted Baker, I really wanted Josh Allen, and we both got our guys at the time. And I didn't really care for Baker at the time, but the way that Cleveland has treated him is I'm not going to say he's the most unfortunate quarterback in the NFL because he was still a first overall pick, and he's still not Tyrod Taylor. So
I was going to mention Tyrod, but I figured you would too.
Well,
that man's life is a tragedy. We'll do a special on his life one day.
A 30 for Hurdy.
Yeah, we'll invite the doctor that tried to murder him.
Yeah, right.
It's just the whole situation right now has kind of made me sick of Cleveland's news cycle. And I want to get excited, especially because training camp's about to start. We're wrapping up OTAs, the rookie mini camp. We have so many good things still going for us. We probably still have arguably one of the best defensive fronts in the league.
You re-signed Njoku?
We re-signed David Njoku, who really showed out last year that he's valuable to the offense.
Oh, wait, did he finally? We didn't have a podcast, so I didn't get to hear you gush about him.
Yeah, so, Kevin Stefanski basically, because Njoku requested a trade both at the beginning of last year and halfway through the season.
I do remember that part.
Yeah, and Kevin Stefanski was just like, dude, we run a power zone running offense. We need tight ends. We need more than one of them. Trust me, you're going to get play time. You might not get the receptions or targets that you want in today's passing league, but if you get up there and start pancaking motherfuckers, we're going to pay you. And that's essentially what he did. And then Cleveland turned around and cut him an extension for not a little amount of money.
I was going to say he's like $10 million a year now, so
yeah, he's one of the higher paid tight ends in the league now because he's just a physical specimen, and that finally translated to his pass protection and his run blocking. And with Njoku being extended, we still have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney who were re-signed coming off the edge. We have a little bit of a shuffle at the tackle position because Okunjobi goes to Pittsburgh. Okunjobi's in Pittsburgh now, but we still got Jock as arguably one of the best developing Mikes in the league. Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, and the secondary is still nice. We still have Nick Chubb, and against all odds, according to your impeccable news presentations.
Right. Yeah. The things that tricked Keith into an actual podcast.
Yeah, so we were going to do this whole podcast because this motherfucker here was just like, oh, Kareem Hunt got traded to the Eagles, right? I was like, what? No. And, of course, the first headline I see
turns out those
is
reports
probably the first headline I see is probably the same one he saw, where it was like, oh, trading, Kareem Hunt traded to the Eagles, Andre Dillard, blah, 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 blah. So I was pissed.
Listen,
I was livid.
I also heard it from my guy at the store, so,
You're fucking impeccable resource at the liquor store. NFL insider, truly.
I mean, he's also a Patriots fan, so, like, I shouldn't listen to anything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, double fuck him. It blew me away that would even be a possible. It's totally within the realm of Cleveland's capabilities. Trust me, they have shown their competence over the last 6 months. But because Deshaun Watson may sit for this entire year, that two-headed monster in the backfield is going to be once again the glue that holds that offense together.
Super duper critical, yeah.
Yeah, so still having Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield and still having a really good offensive line, like all these things are important. We just still have probably the biggest question mark in quarterback, that even when Baker was hurt and going through surgery, we at least knew we had a starting quarterback. Now, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Especially since we got Case Keenum now.
Yeah, you fucks.
We have reconnected the Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah, I would argue that Jacoby Brissett is a backup upgrade from Case Keenum, but
you think so? Really?
Yeah. Well, Jacoby Brissett had starting success in Indianapolis.
So, I mean, Case Keenum had starting success in Minneapolis.
Yeah, he also had, like, as we've seen now that they've taken more important coaching jobs in the league, he also had one of the best coaching staffs in the league.
Well, does he also not have one of the best coaching staffs in the league now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jacoby Brissett has Kevin Stefanski, and Case Keenum has whoever the fuck's in Buffalo.
Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, that guy.
Currently as OC. Yeah. Which is another thing, to talk about is all of the Bills coaching maneuvers. Mm-hmm. But also, it's one of those things where it's like, we're in a place where a couple years ago Matt Barkley was our backup, and now Matt Barkley is like our third,
right?
And Case Keenum is still like the step in between.
But Case Keenum being in backup is not a bad spot to be.
Nah. Again, especially since he threw the ball to Stephon Diggs for the Minneapolis Miracle.
Mm-hmm. Guess who the coach was for the Minneapolis Miracle?
I have no idea.
Kevin Stefanski.
Not bad. Yeah.
At least I think.
Full circle. Ken Dorsey. Wait, who was the gum chewing guy you had? Wasn't he Ken something?
John Dorsey.
John Dorsey. Okay, that's where I'm getting the names conflated.
Hey, Baker.
You
want to be the first round pick?
Where is John Dorsey now?
I don't know. It's a good question. Let me Googleize that real quick. John Dorsey.
Because I swear to God,
is currently the senior personnel executive for the Detroit Lions.
Okay, I was this close to being like, oh, so here's the thing though. What if they do that? Okay, before we get to the Bills, I guess. What if Detroit pulls that trigger? What if they're sick of Jared Goff?
Hey, that's an idea. Put John Dorsey and Baker Mayfield back together.
The guy that picked him up.
I don't know. John Dorsey's also the guy that hired Freddie Kitchens as a head coach.
Well, I mean, listen.
So Baker Mayfield might not be super keen on going back to a situation like that. But
no, but he's got MCDC who's chewing on kneecaps, and that's the kind of fight that Baker's looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, so to wrap up until this point, Cleveland's doing Cleveland stuff. The Factory of Sadness is now reopened and in full swing. And all I can do is sit back and watch. Fortunately,
is just churning.
It's churning. Fortunately, I have my boys right across the lake to watch in Cleveland's stead if they super piss me off. It's been several times I've had the conversation with myself over the past couple of months of like, maybe I'm just a Bills fan now. Who knows?
Just come on. We got room for you.
Right.
There's not room for everybody, but there's room for you.
Yeah, well, that's why I've always loved like the Cleveland Bills relationship when it comes to football, because Cleveland and Buffalo have this very specific mutual respect for each other, being so in such close proximity, playing in similar conditions, and being equally as bad.
We are Rust Belt, and we are terrible.
Hell yeah.
That's been
Lake
the last
Erie
20
sucks.
years.
Let's go.
That shit goes like this in the fucking end zone.
Right? Like, everybody hates kicking towards the lake. Doesn't matter which stadium.
What was it last year? I mean, Carolina came up to play, and it was like I mean, it's not even the wind so bad, but the fucking punter blew his fucking knee out like in warm-ups, or not the punter, the kicker, and they had to bring on like every single person on their team.
That's when they were doing because they didn't have a backup kicker.
It's like
they were doing live tryouts of like skilled and non-skilled position players to learn how to kick fucking field goals and extra.
It wasn't even just that. It was kickoffs too, because like
they didn't just use the punter.
No, like the punter couldn't even do kickoffs, and they were just like, we're practicing onside kicks. This is what we're doing.
Wow.
like the Pat McAfee kick to myself, like onside kick, and it's like, yeah, dog, that's not gonna work over here.
That was always the weirdest relationship between a punter and kicker to me in Indianapolis when it was Pat McAfee and Vinatieri, because Vinatieri obviously had the consistency and the accuracy, but as he got older, longer in the tooth, he lost a bit of his leg.
Yep.
He could still hit it from like 50-ish out, but for kickoffs, they just used Pat McAfee because he wasn't a punter in college. He was a kicker.
He was a kicker. I mean, anybody who's followed him knows he didn't even know how to punt coming into the league.
Yeah, he didn't even, and he sure as fuck didn't know how to place hold, because in college the fucking backup quarterback was the placeholder for the kicker.
Right, which is again another one of their stories where Vinatieri literally sent him to a holding camp where it was like
to not ruin his legacy.
You're gonna figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Great story. Shout out to Pat McAfee. Always good stories. He woke up in a ravine one time. That was pretty cool.
A good talker of all times. I had the word in my head somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So,
look, we're just warming up. It's episode 1.
Episode 1, season 3. Let's go!
Woo! But that's my brief summation of where I'm at with Cleveland football right now. The draft, briefly. The draft went kind of well. I'm relatively satisfied with the draft.
Yeah, I did mean to ask you about that. Any important pickups that you felt you had?
I wouldn't say I know them by name, but I'm excited that we drafted in positions where we didn't just go for best player on the board.
Okay.
Because that kind of didn't make sense for us this year. The first time in Cleveland history, it didn't make sense just to take the guy.
Right.
We're able to get some depth and shore up some positions that had some holes, like the offensive line, and working around in the secondary and working around on the defensive line for rotational players, and our free agents look strong. I watched the majority of the rookie minicamp, and even the free agents we picked up, the undrafted guys, they're at least hungry, and that's what I like. I like dogs in the dog pound.
Dogs.
So I'm excited to learn these players' names, because hopefully they'll make something out of their careers, and I'll have a reason to pay attention.
Absolutely. So you had a rebound off of what you were talking about with Cleveland's draft. The Bills have largely been fine and like trending on like an upward scale. They literally, Josh Allen changed the rules last year, a la Tom Brady, except, in a fair way and not a bullshit way. Fuck you to the Tuck rule, and fuck yeah to both sides getting a chance in overtime. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I think it actually like additionally adds. Like, some people are upset because it's one of those things where it's like, well, you had all game, and also, if you're on defense, like, fucking make a play. But I'm of a mindset that it, A, is slightly more fair, and B, also adds an additional layer of strategy still to the game, because, like, so many teams defer until the second half now. Even if you win the coin toss. Whereas, if you wanted an overtime, it was just like, take the coin toss, you win it, give me the ball, because we're going to go score and we're going to end this shit.
I largely don't like it, but that's only because I don't like... I think overtime should be just another period. I think they should play a 10-minute quarter or a 10-minute period and call it what it is. The reason why I don't like it,
See, my stupid ass still likes college rules.
yeah, I abhor college rules in overtime because it is not football. It is not fucking football to start that close to the end zone. March the field. Don't be a coward. When it comes to the rule changes, I came around to it. At first, I was pretty opposed to it because I still am of the mindset of if you would have not played the world's most bullshit prevent defense, it wouldn't have been a factor. If
only our head coach had listened to our special teams coordinator, who was literally calling for a squib kick and then quit the team to go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, any asshole can look at the film of that defensive series from the Bills and be like, hey, why aren't you covering the middle of the field where Kansas City's most lethal weapon likes to play, or fucking Travis Kelce? Just give it to him. Just give him 15 yards a chunk.
Not even the defensive calling. Just like, I mean, you've heard me scream about fucking McDermott's mismanaging of certain situations, even if it was just like challenge flags for years now.
Yeah, I hated that was the impetus. I think that was what created so much aversion to me, was the deciding factor is like, okay, we need to take this serious. We need to take another look at this. It wasn't the fact that it was unfair. It was the fact that it was just abhorrent play calling. It should have never even gotten to that position. But once you are in that position, yeah, I do agree that overtime rules need to be a little fair. It shouldn't be on 100% on the tired-ass defense to stop an all-star offensive roster like Kansas City from making a single play to just end the game.
Well, but also the 13 seconds still occurred in regular time. Right. The other thing with the rule change is that it only applies to the playoffs. So regular season football will still be, if you score a touchdown off the rip, you still win.
Mm-hmm. Right. But that's another one of the points that I super disagree with, is I think that the rules outside of tying, because obviously tying is possible in football and tying doesn't make sense in the playoffs. But I think if you're going to do it in the playoffs,
I think two teams should play one team in the Super Bowl.
I think if you're gonna make that rule change for overtime in the postseason, just do it for the entire year.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and that's my biggest critique is I've come around to the idea of, all right, let's give both offenses the ball, but that should just be unilateral across the entire season.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it for real. Don't make exceptions just because it's the playoffs.
Okay, before we dive into the Bills draft and everything, why do you dislike the college overtime rules?
Because it's not real football. It's end zone drills.
But isn't that fun?
No, it's not. It limits the playbook. So you only see the same like five
plays. But like
scenarios.
every time it gets backed up further and further, right? So
does it?
I don't know. I don't watch college football. Last I heard, it starts at a point and then every time somebody succeeds, it backs up.
I mean, that might be a recent thing, but the teams I watch in college football don't ever go to the overtime because they're normally too busy getting blown out.
Right.
So, but no, because you start so close to the end zone, even in successive attempts, like even if it does back up, like say it goes from like the 20 to the 30 or whatever it may or may not be, you're just drilling at that point. It limits the playbook. It's not football. If you have an entire drive, that means you have your entire team's skill set. So imagine a team like the Cleveland Browns, for instance, who last year were devoid of a passing game, relied heavy on the rushing game. Aside from the fact that they have two very dynamic running backs, would a team in that position be more inclined to pass or throw? Or pass or rush, rather?
Well, at the college level, you never know.
Right. And 8 times out of 10, we're going to see teams pass in that scenario because it's the trend of the NFL.
Can you do a quick Google for me just so I don't screw up the recording? Can you see what Pat McAfee's last year at West Virginia was? And if it was the year that we beat them 24-3?
His senior season was 2008.
So probably not, because I think that was the second game I went to. I mean, I was there in 2008, but
Well, let's see. 2008 West Virginia football.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could just look up their schedule.
It was the 2008 season.
Oh, wow.
At Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, lost 24-3. Pirates.
Arrgh! Purple.
Go. And West Virginia was ranked 8th.
Oh yeah, they were. I think they were. I don't even think they were 8th. I think they were higher than that at the time. But
Well, I'm looking at it right now. They were 8th.
okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, they were top 10 for sure. Because
And they finished the season still 23rd. It wasn't a bad football team.
yeah, so. Just to say, when I attend Pirates games, they win every time. So
So how many games have you been to?
2.
Hey,
But that was
2-0, not bad.
but that was one of them.
Still counts.
I do not. Let me put it this way: I do not remember the other one that we won. So
I don't remember any of the Pirates games I went to because I was fucking loaded.
well, I was never in the student section. I got brought by my buddy's dad. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I would tailgate on the hill and then go to the student section.
that sounds like the way at 21, right?
At 100% legal age.
Yes.
Totally.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I totally did not go to college until I was 21 years old.
Correct. Yeah. That's what the Army requires. Jesus Christ. We do a show for the internet.
It's one of our classic segues that aren't segues.
Also, I mean, this is all ex post facto at this point. I mean, you can't charge for any of that. Anyways,
Exactly.
So the Bills draft this year.
I was 5.
Yeah, the Bills draft this year. Speaking of 5, Kaiir Elam from Florida.
That's that wide receiver, right?
No, that's that cornerback.
Oh.
I think he's actually going to do really well with the Bills, especially early on, and especially being opposite Tre'Davious White. We have been leaning on fucking UDFAs and like 6th round picks for too long. This is the first time we've drafted a technically speaking, Kaiir Elam was drafted above where Tre'Davious White was. Because Trey was drafted at 27, Kaiir Elam was drafted at 23, and we moved up to get him. Trey, we moved back out of 10, which again classically became Patrick Mahomes, to 27, and then took Trey White. And I think, in a lot of ways, this kid could be better than Trey White. So we'll see. He is fast. He's not as fluid. I'll say that much. He's not as fluid. He wasn't taught really in college how to like super duper form tackle and a bunch of other shit.
Technique like that comes at the pro level anyways. So.
Right. But he's a traitsy corner. And I think that could be huge for us. I mean, to be fair, we also took, our slot corner who classically in the combine got hit in the fucking head with a football. So,
Hell yeah.
He also then turned around and picked off Lamar Jackson in a playoff game for a 101-yard return touchdown. So, listen, there are things that you can teach people after they're drafted. After that, we got Dalvin Cook's younger brother, James Cook, who like is a legitimate receiving threat out of the backfield, and also is just like one of the smoothest runners I've ever seen. And
a lot of the general consensus of James Cook is that he is 100% Dalvin Cook's brother. Like,
yeah,
the pedigree is there.
Except he's bigger and faster.
Mm-hmm. Like he is a meaty Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and just like I watch him run, and it's like it's the $6 billion man. He's just like, he's got this stride. It's very chest high, which a lot of people have commented on, and you know, I don't know if like maybe that's a downside at some point, but it's just, it's smooth and it's fluid, and he is, I don't know if he's instinctual, but when he makes a cut, like, it just goes, and there's just open field in front of him.
Yeah, my only concern, and James Cook is actually somebody I have, one of the few teams I watch in college is Georgia. Mm-hmm. I like the Georgia Bulldogs.
More dogs.
More dogs. The concerns I have with James Cook are strictly between the tackles, because although he is by frame bigger than Dalvin Cook, he is by weight and like girth smaller.
Yeah,
and he's, like you said, he's speedy. He's fast. He ran like a 4.44 at the combine.
I think it was like a 4.47. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how that speed translates in pads, just because of carrying less weight. And durability between the tackles. But man, most running backs that come out of Georgia is running back man. Like, they make studs. That's a run heavy school. And
if you ain't on the defense,
if he can at least like match his productivity in Georgia, but at like a pro level, like start rolling those professional skills that he's going to learn from the running back coach, and be able to churn out similar production across a 17-game season, that's a pickup, man. That's a solid pickup, especially in a backfield. Like I said, my only question is between the tackles, because that's where the Bills have always struggled with running backs. You always get these undersized guys that have skills that make them better than what you would consider just your run-of-the-mill running back, but nobody that elevates.
Not always, but definitely for the last solid chunk of time.
Yeah, like I would say over the last like 5 to 7 years, it's running backs have always been a question mark, and the Bills always have this predisposition to get undersized dudes by NFL running back standards.
I mean, well, really, the last three we had Marshawn, and we had Fred Jackson. And then the lesser remembered by anybody who wasn't in Buffalo was Carlos Williams. And Carlos Williams tied or was close to tying a rookie record because he had a touchdown in each of his first 5 games, and was just like destroying people, and had like a really good rookie season, and then came back like way overweight and got cut like 3 different times. And then,
that's not a good look.
Yeah, and then ended up in the CFL, and is, I think now finally back in the NFL. But I mean, I can't confirm that, because like he was going to be like the next great thing,
right? Yeah, just to put a little perspective on my, or like a little bit of a punctuation on my statement of me feeling like James Cook is undersized, to compare him to another Georgia running back who is now my golden standard of running backs, Mr. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, hard. All right. I'll just
who also played in Georgia. They're both 5'11". Nick Chubb has 40 pounds on James Cook.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they're also very different. I mean,
Dalvin Cook only has like 15, 20 pounds on James Cook. So yeah.
Nick Chubb is, I mean, would you consider Nick Chubb a receiving threat? Because that's what a lot of people look at James Cook as.
We have Kareem Hunt for that. Why would we need James?
Right,
Cook? Why would
right.
we need Nick Chubb?
Well, you know, hey, we can split James Cook like out to a slot position, and he can run wide receiver routes and like be successful at them, which brings me to the last person that I thought, well, not the last person, but the next person in our draft that I thought was actually influential, which is the wide receiver we took, whose name I can't draw right now, but like literally See, now I'm falling short on all sorts of names. What's it? Brett Coleman.
Khalil Shakir.
Khalil Shakir. So Brett Coleman did an entire video on him, calling him like Debo Sanders light.
Yeah. So he must be at least not terrible.
Some of the catches I've seen him make are incredible, and they just put him everywhere. And basically, the argument was like, oh, so you have him and you have James Cook in the same lineup, but he's out at corner, and James Cook is in at running back, and you literally just flip them and see what the defense does. Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous. And yeah, some of the catches he's made are just stupid. He can slightly play out of the Wildcat, and I don't expect him to be a lot of things, but one of the things the Bills were saying early on was that like they already view him as like the fourth wide receiver, where he could go in and just fill in for any position, which is largely where they had Gabriel Davis after they drafted him.
Yeah, and I think it's important for that build. Having a player like that at your disposal is it's a matchup nightmare. It's very much how most teams in the league use scat backs. Your Kareem Hunt, your Alvin Kamara's kind of guys. Is you can line them up outside, you can line them up between the tackles, you can line them up wherever, and see how the defense shifts for it, and then that basically tells you what they're running. And not only does it tell you what they're running, they also still have the capabilities on the field to create the openings from wherever you put them. But having it at the wide receiver position is almost like it amplifies that, because wide receivers as a skill position are very much, historically have been very much, this is a wide receiver, they catch balls, hard stop, period. Mm-hmm. But now, especially with the breakout of Deebo Samuel and people calling this guy like another kind of Deebo Samuel, being creative with players like that has already proven its value in the NFL. My question would be, do you think that the Bills' offensive scheming via either the coordinator or whoever's the one actually creating the offensive schemes, do they have the creativity to use a player like that appropriately? Because that's kind of been a problem with these gadget players before.
I do very much think so. That's not based on, I mean, so the whole thing is we went from Brian Daboll, right? And Daboll is now the head coach of the Giants. So our new offensive coordinator is Ken Dorsey, who was previously the quarterback's coach. He wasn't even properly in Josh Allen's ear, like to call plays and stuff. And that's one of the things that the Bills have had to work on, where Josh has spoken about it, where he's like, we need to like I just need him in the headset. I need him in the headset because even certain words sound different. So when you're in the heat of things and stuff's got to get delivered quickly, like I need to know what that set of things actually sounds like. That being said, like I've seen reports that have called Ken Dorsey already like a mastermind at this kind of stuff. Tavon Austin, who we picked up, former number 7 overall, I think to the Rams back in the day, first round pick, who we picked up at wide receiver. Now, he hasn't been amazing in recent history, but he also claims to be healthy now for the first time in 3 years, which could also just be, upping his own stock and whatnot. That being said, he came in and he has been with a bunch of different teams, and he says this is the most complex offense he's ever been with. So it's basically a situation where like every play based off of different keys has a million different like options.
Right.
Is the way that they've talked about it. Now, the flip side of that is they also have the other play, which is the simplest play in the playbook, which is GOTCB.
Josh Allen just runs the ball.
No, get open, catch the ball.
Yeah, just go straight, go fast.
Or alternatively, Steph, get open.
Right.
has been the connection between the two of them. So do I think that there's the complexity to actually use these players? Yes, absolutely. Also, I think in the past I've expressed pretty clearly one of my big problems with Dable in the past, assuming he was calling all the plays, is that he would get stuck in this mentality where he would like something wouldn't work, but he would do it like 4 more times. It wasn't every game, but the number of times where it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna try this run with Josh, and it's like, stop fucking running power with Josh Allen. Listen, does he stay pretty safe? Yeah. Is he a big dude? Yes. He's the franchise though.
Yeah, we don't want Cam Newtoning of our franchise quarterback.
Exactly.
Considering he is the caucus Cam Newton.
Yeah. Pretty stoutly and clearly at this point. But it's just like, yeah, Dable, I feel like, would get stuck in his ways. And I don't know what Dable's background is. I don't think he ever played football because he's not particularly suited to it body-wise. Ken Dorsey was a quarterback.
Yeah.
Ken Dorsey was, I believe, the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes when they had like ridiculous players on it. So he's seen what exceptional athletes can do, and has played alongside them. So we're not like, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So we're gonna see how that plays out. Any good strategy doesn't survive contact with the enemy. Sure. that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens when the season actually unfolds. But knowing that the Bills are so rich at this point, that we get to, that everything feels like a luxury pick just about. Mm-hmm. Like our top 2 fit major needs, where it was like, we got a top level cornerback again to go opposite Trey White, and we got a really good running back who can also be a dynamic weapon, and everything else was just like, yeah, okay. I mean, shit, we drafted Matt Ariza, who I was getting to down the road, the punt god, who also hates being called that, and also apparently by other punters, objectively is not NFL ready. But listen, if he's got the biggest cannon of a leg in the world, then hopefully we can teach those other things. He's very Pat McAfee, where it's like, I mean, he was a punter and a kicker, so he has a little bit of actual punting experience, but it wasn't like directional. And McAfee says he doesn't have an NFL drop, and I'll trust a former pro to say to say that.
Oh, absolutely.
And he also hasn't really held before, because he was also still kicking for San Diego State. So I don't know if it was San Diego State or just San Diego, but regardless, so he was not catching and placing it. Matt Hack is still holding the ball for Tyler Bass right now. Do I think that we will have a kicker, a placeholder, and a punter by the time the regular season comes around? No. But, it might not be Ariza's job, by the time we get there. Who knows?
Sure.
But it kind of also felt like a luxury pick, but it also felt like one of those things where it's like, I know it's just a punter, but it felt like Mac Jones falling to the Patriots, where it's like, are you guys really this stupid? You're just gonna you're gonna let this guy go to a good team, or a place where he could actually get coached up and actually become decent?
Yes.
And it was just it was another one of those moments of Bean being Bean, and just being like, yeah, we're gonna take him. Actually,
yeah. At that point, why not?
In a place like Buffalo, where it's swirling and windy, guess what? After a certain point, we've seen some of Matt Hack's punts last year. Guess what? They went like 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We don't need you to be super mechanically sound, probably, to get that ball off your foot.
Drill through the wind.
We need you to put it that way 60 yards when we're fucked up and the Patriots are running it 28 times in a row on us.
Yeah.
So, beyond that, the Bills brought back a bunch of veteran players who had gone to other teams in recent years, and that's crazy. A lot of them across the D-line. Jordan Phillips, I believe, went to the Cardinals and came back. Shaq Lawson went to Miami and is now back. And there's a what I consider now famous interview with Jordan Phillips of him like doing his first interview back in Buffalo and talking about how it feels like family, how it feels like he never left, how he watched, Ed Oliver mature even while he was away. And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, we hear Shaq might also re-sign. Like, what do you have to say to that? And he just leans into the microphone and goes, Shaq signed the contract. and it's just like, it's that kind of vibe where it's like I've known and the team has known for the last year or so, like Buffalo has started to become a destination, but now it's also like even the old vets want to come back.
Right.
Like, even if it's like, I don't know what all the contracts are compared to what they were making previously. But I assume it's a little bit less.
Yeah.
But like, people see the potential in Buffalo and it's crazy and it's surreal. And if you listen to me now compared to me when we first did this podcast, it's two completely different worlds.
Oh, sure. And I think even with the limited success Cleveland had last season, I feel very similarly, where if you go back to 2018 and listen to how we were talking about our teams then versus now, these last 4 years as Cleveland and Buffalo fans have been a fucking ride, dude. Talking about teams being a destination, Cleveland was building. Now there's been a misstep, obviously, and we discussed that already. But Cleveland too has been built like we were able to land free agents and get trades that I never thought would be possible.
Well, I mean, you got Landry and Odell, like.
Yeah, we were the first team to reunite those two to limited success, but we were able to get Landry and Odell, and they both were fine with being there ish.
I mean,
Odell
or defensively, like you've got Myles Garrett and fucking Jadeveon Clowney on opposite sides, like that shit.
Right.
That shit is legitimately scary.
Right, and Myles Garrett, to his credit, Myles Garrett was on the 0-16 Browns team. And so he saw it at its worst and decided to stick around because of the culture that Cleveland was trying to build.
Well, and the paycheck, but
being the highest paid defensive player for a grand total of 20 seconds, pretty big deal. Still, even by today's contract standards, he's still one of the better paid DNs in the league.
Can I butt in and say something about contracts real quick?
Sure.
Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs' contracts already look real good in the long term compared to like what some people are going to pay even probably a couple months from now. Like Lamar Jackson is still not under contract.
And look how much we just paid for Deshaun Watson.
Meanwhile Josh Allen is still making like less than Mahomes and Diggs is making like less than what Tyreek and DeAndre Hopkins got, and it's just like, yeah, Bean, fucking work that magic. But anyways,
yeah, like teams making concessions on their contracts in order to play for these teams. Like it was like last season when we re-signed Hollywood Higgins. He took a pay cut. He's like, I just want to come back to Cleveland, and he was offered much more lucrative offers from other teams as just a rotational wide receiver because he's consistent. And I like playing with Jarvis Landry. I'm going to hang out here. And we didn't even touch on the fact that after Jarvis, because Jarvis is gone, he's in NOLA now, and Odell is still kind of floating around his kind of a question mark of where he's going to land.
He's still a free agent because he probably still needs surgery and will probably be out for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, so, but we were able to go out and get Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper was fine with never in my life.
I actually for a moment forgot that you guys signed Amari Cooper, and that is
yeah. And everybody, it's funny because just touching briefly on Amari Cooper, because there's some controversy around that as well, because everybody was like, well, Amari Cooper's production was ass last year in comparison to the year prior. As like Amari Cooper led the league in separation by yards. He just wasn't targeted because Dak Prescott was playing like balls when he came back from his injury.
Yeah.
Because he was afraid. Dak Prescott was playing afraid. Dak Prescott had a quantifiable regression.
Also, who else was on Dallas's fucking receiving core, like, anywhere?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when like that's that's the brilliance of the Bills is Gabe Davis like emerged, but like Diggs saw regression. You know what Diggs seeing regression meant? It meant that like Cole Beasley was open and Dawson Knox had a career year and Gabe Davis had a career year, and it was like yeah, when you eat double teams, other people get open.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is constantly gonna have the same issue, but with just a different skill position. When you have running backs like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, you don't have to lean on the passing game nearly as much. Your receivers aren't gonna see the numbers, and I think receivers need to be okay with that in order to succeed in Cleveland. And until proven otherwise, I think Amari Cooper is just gonna be okay with that because winning is winning. And as long as we have consistency from our wide receivers, we also picked up a wide receiver in the draft from Purdue. I can't remember his name, but he was for where we got him, because we also got to remember Cleveland didn't pick in this draft until the 3rd round.
Mm-hmm.
Largely the reason why I can't remember a lot
fucking anybody's names. It was late late Saturday night before you guys
we were even on the board.
All right,
and Cleveland is experiencing a certain degree of what the Bills experienced in the draft, where they were luxury picks. We don't have big, huge question marks or big, huge holes that needed to be filled. It was just we were drafting for depth.
Yeah. I also think the Bills might quietly have the deepest wide receiver room in the NFL right now.
That's a good argument to make.
And I mean, several of them probably aren't going to end up making the final roster. I'm legitimately concerned for Isaiah McKenzie at this point, aka Little Dirty, aka the face of the franchise, where it's just like, yeah, you just changed your jersey number. You might have to change it again because you might be on another team, dog.
Yeah, you're about to be the face of some other franchise.
Yeah, like I mean, Stephon Diggs, obviously a lock. Gabe Davis, obviously a lock.
Mm-hmm. Y'all are at least going to take a shot on your rookie.
Yeah. Jamison Crowder, who we just, signed to a deal from the Jets.
Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, he was our Cole Beasley replacement.
Yeah.
And then
old Toothless.
Yeah. The rookie we drafted. And then Tavon Austin, and it's like, even just with them, like if you're a player who we drafted in the later rounds the last couple of years, if you're Isaiah Hodgins, and you've been injured, you're probably gone, dog. Like, mm-hmm. if you're fuck, I can't even remember his name, but number 9, who is like kind of a punt returner sometimes, like you're probably you're probably out of here.
Deuces.
I mean, even tight end is getting stacked. We now have Dawson Knox, who had like a really big emergent year, and then we went and fucking signed OJ Howard.
Fort Knox.
Yeah, fucking Fort Knox. And then OJ Howard's on the other side. We got 8 and 88, and they're gonna fucking like.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch Bills football this year. I really am.
It might be it might be the best tight end duo in the league. We might have the deepest wide receiver core in the league, with the best safeties in the league, with the deepest defensive line rotation in the league, with maybe the best quarterback in the league. And here's the thing. Bar none. I will easily hear the argument for other people saying like Aaron Rodgers is better, or even Pat Mahomes is better. Like they're more accomplished. They've done more stuff. Like Aaron Rodgers has been in the league doing it for forever. When you throw 4 interceptions in an entire season, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is on some god tier shit right now.
Like even Matt Stafford, especially after last year when he's on like a good team, like is like elevating his way back into that conversation. But bar none, I think Josh at the very least is the most fun to watch.
Yeah, like I've always said since watching him his rookie year, I've gotten Cam Newton vibes from Josh Allen, and like him or hate him, when Cam Newton was in his prime, he was a fucking fun quarterback to watch. He was dynamic. He could basically do whatever he wanted on the field at any given time, and he was a fucking mess to defend, either in the passing game or the running game. He's just a fucking menace. And that's what elevates Josh Allen's game, is he has a strong enough arm to throw it anywhere. He has developed the technique and accuracy to make all pro level throws, in space, in tight coverage, dropping it into wide open receivers. But there's always that lingering threat that he's going to take that frame and just bumble it 15 yards on you, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about it.
You're right, because he's gonna put his fucking arm in your chest.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like,
or hurdle you.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you thought you were gonna do something, you're not.
Negative.
I mean, and on top of that, so the big thing that I noticed from Josh, because, again, I think we missed his rookie year in our on-off rotation, because my first year was complaining about Trey White and him being a bum, which, in retrospect, clearly read that wrong. But every rookie's got growth that they have to do.
Yeah. Well, it's also hard whenever, like we talked about prior, like Trey White's biggest asset is that nobody wanted to throw it to him.
We haven't talked about
so
Pryor in years.
That's fair. What is he doing? Being unemployed, probably.
Yeah, but yes, there was growth there. Sorry, did you have anything else to say on that?
No, it's hard to gauge a player when he doesn't put up a lot of tape because people don't throw to him, because on paper he's so good.
Right. It's like
his rookie season, he was quietly one of the best corners in the league, but you were just like, he's trash. And I was like, I'm not sure about him because we just never see anybody throw to him.
Right. Yeah. He was so shut down that he just wouldn't get thrown at. And eventually like that got into my mindset and readjusted, some of my takes, whereas Stephon Gilmore would get thrown at and half the time he was electric and the other half of the time he was getting burned all over the place. So, what was my point? What was I building towards?
We missed a year watching Josh Allen, rookie season, bitching about Trey White. That's all I got.
Nope, it's gone.
Cool. Professional.
All of this is staying in, by the way.
Too lazy to edit. We're only going on an hour and a half. It's fine.
Oh God, there was something there.
Figure it out.
Nope, I got nothing.
Cool. Awesome. Send it to post. We're done here.
Are we done? We got anything else we want to talk about?
Briefly, did you see Tyreek Hill's comments on Patrick Mahomes since he's moved to Miami?
Oh yeah, that Tua's more accurate, which I mean,
MVT baby.
I mean, he's technically correct.
Well, Tyreek Hill doesn't want to be the wide receiver that just runs go routes every play, and that's what he felt like Kansas City expected from him.
No, he's got to be the wide
Hill.
receiver that runs slant routes every play now because Tua doesn't have any fucking arm strength.
Right, and it was funny. Like my biggest takeaway from that interview was like, Tyreek Hill is kind of displaying some selfishness because he kept saying, I'm underutilized. He was targeted like 140 fucking times last season.
Well, also Tyreek Hill showed up and was like originally in speaking to the Dolphins was like, yeah, it's a lot of money. And, when that shows up, it's hard to say no, basically. And then later on was like, literally said something along the lines of like, yeah, Tua doesn't suck as bad as I thought. I thought this was going to be trash when I showed up.
Yeah, it's got, like Tua went into Miami in a very disrupted state. Was that after the second mass exodus?
I can't even remember.
It sure as fuck was after the first because that's how we got Jarvis Landry. So like Tua didn't have a team. I'm like Tua's the best player in the league. You can't convince me otherwise.
Okay.
I agree with Tyreek Hill on that front.
Okay. Better than Josh Allen? More fun to watch?
Yeah, duh. Josh Allen hasn't won Most Valuable Tua.
You know what? You're technically correct on that. You're technically correct on that. And on that and on that note,
on that bombshell,
on the technically correct bombshell, this is fun.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Good luck to us for doing it in the next 5 weeks, though, because there's no training camp or anything for a while. So,
yeah, maybe the news will pop up. We'll kind of take it. We'll kind of take
it
1 week at a time.
Listen. For your sake, I hope it's not maybe the news.
Or if it is the news, it's like Deshaun Watson suddenly was replaced with an exact physical copy that didn't be a shithead.
Fucking
and now he's quarterbacking the Cleveland Browns.
The Nobel Peace Prize for keep your hands the fuck off of me goes to.
Oh man, this is gonna be wild. Tell you what, you can 100% expect an episode whenever the NFL passes judgment on the Deshaun Watson situation. But that is the only episode I will guarantee we do during this offseason.
All right, you heard it from him first.
If there's some, it's funny whenever you go into editing and realize you're pointing the wrong way.
I'm pointing the right way on my screen, which is the only thing that's being recorded.
There you go. All right, as long as it's organized that way. You totally just pointed at the channel list of the Discord.
No, this guy. Yeah. This guy said it. Sorry. This lady sitting next to this guy said it.
If we do more episodes in the off season,
well, okay, yeah, in the off season, yeah. I won't.
Yeah, if we do more episodes in the off season, there might be mini-episodes just to briefly cover some interesting topics. But
yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I can see us squeezing out 20 or 30 minutes here or there. We just had a lot to talk about. And honestly, that for this episode, we're literally kind of wrapping it up right now, if I ever stop talking, due to time. Because we could keep talking forever, because we missed an entire season worth of football and didn't talk into a microphone about it.
Keep saying squeeze it out in a Cleveland shirt.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns. You got to take the Browns to the Super Bowl somehow.
We'll see. We'll see.
We're going all the way this time.
So anyways, this has been the Fourth and Wrong podcast for June 24th, 2022. I'll wait. Say goodbye, Keith.
I realized how poorly timed that was when I did it. But I was committed. Goodbye, Keith.